YouTube. Thank you for tuning in, whoever's tuning in, or whoever randomly passes by. But we're going to get into the Ancient Secret of the Flower of Life, Volume 1 by Drone Balog Mizedc. So, where we left off, here we're going to kick back up. The Scared 72 in Dan Winter's book, Heart Math, the DNA molecule is shown to be constructed by dual relationships of dodecahedrons and icosahedrons. One can also see the DNA molecule as a rotating cube. When you rotate a cube through when you rotate a cube through 72 degrees in a particular pattern, it makes it an icosahedron, which is in turn a dual with the dodecahedron. So there's a reciprocal pattern going up the DNA strands. The icosahedron, then the dodecahedron, the icosahedron continuing back and forth. This rotation through the cube creates the DNA molecule. It has been determined that this is the exact square geometry behind the DNA, although there may be further hidden relationships. This 72-degree angle rotating in our DNA connects with the blueprint purpose of Great White Brotherhood. As you may know, 72 orders are associated with the Great White Brotherhood. Many people speak of the 72 orders of angels, and the Hebrews speak of the 72 names of God. The reasons for 72 has to do with the way the platonic solids are constructed, which is also related to the Christ consciousness grid around the earth. If you take two tetrahedrons and superimpose them, though in different positions, you get a star tetrahedron, which from a different view is nothing but a cube, figure 625. You can see how they're interrelated. In a similar manner, you can also put 5 tetrahedrons together and make an icosahedron cap. Figure 626. If you make 12 icosahedral caps and put one on each face of the dodecahedron, it would require 5x12 or 60 tetrahedrons to create a dodecahedron. It would be a stellated dodecahedron because a point comes out of the center of each face. Its dual is the 12 points in the center of each face of the dodecahedron, which forms an icosahedron. The 60 tetrahedrons plus the 12 points of the centers equals 72. Again, the number of orders associated with the Great White Brotherhood. The Brotherhood actually functions through the physical relationships of this stellated dodecahedron in occultations in my bad, tongue twister. Icosahedron form, which is the basis of the Christ consciousness grid. Sorry, I went back and read the same thing. Hello, bro. What up? So we're right here. I'm just trying to focus my board. So we're getting into where I left off, the Ancient Secret of the Flower of Life, Volume 1. So we're about to finish it. It took me like 2 years, but once we finish it, I'm going to order Volume 2, and we're going to get into the super meditating, astral projection, basically going into the future, astral projecting wherever you want. You know, you can time travel, go into space and stuff. But here we go. The world. In other words, the Brotherhood is attempting to bring out the consciousness of the planet's right brain. The original order was the Alpha and Omega Order of Melchizedek, which was formed by the Machiventa Melchizedek about 200 to 200,000 years ago. Since then, 71 other orders have been created. The youngest one is the Brotherhood of the Seven Rays in Peru, Bolivia, the 72nd Order. Each of the 72 orders has a life pattern like a sine wave curve, where some of them come to existence for a certain length of time and then disappear for a while. They have biorhythms just as human bodies do. Bodies do. The Rosicrucians, for example, are on a 100-year cycle. They come out for 100 years and then disappear totally for 100 years. They literally disappear off the face of the earth. Then 100 years later, they're back in the world and functioning for another 100 years. They're all on different cycles, and they're all functioning together for one purpose: to return Christ consciousness back to this planet, to set up this lost feminine aspect of consciousness and bring balance between the left and the right side of the planet's brain. There's another way to look at this that is really extraordinary. When we walk about England, I will get to it. When we walk about England, I will get to it. Okay, so what do y'all think? Here we go. I'm going to try to finish as much as I can, and then we can just start discuss some like whatever topics going on right now, or if you guys know about the three-eye atlas and the cosmic egg of creation. I think that's what it like kind of is, the cosmic egg of creation, the three-eye atlas. It's like passing by, dropping life in the solar system, our solar system, and probably every other place it travels through, you know? So here we go. Using bombs and understanding the basic pattern of creation. Question. When they detonate an atomic bomb, what happens to the elements? As far as the elements are concerned, they are converted into energy and other elements. But there is more to the picture. You have two kinds of bombs: fission and fusion. Fission is splitting matter apart, and fusion is putting it together. It's okay to put it together. Nobody complains about that. All the known suns in the universe are fusion reactors. I realize what I am about to say is not accepted by science yet, but when you rip matter apart through fission, there's a corresponding outer space location associated with it that is affected. As above, so below. In other words, inner space, the microcosm, the outer space, the microcosm are connected. This is the reason that fission is illegal throughout the universe. So touching on that, like since it's been like almost like what 70, 80 years since the atomic bomb and in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, I think that's what it was. But it was saying right here what it affects space, right? Because it rips through space and time. So I think like a lot of these earthquakes too are related to those atomic blasts that happened 100 years ago, like the recent ones that happened, because they happened around like August 6th. That was like the year they dropped the atomic bomb. And I think that time and space is getting like disrupted. People, you know, like the tachyon particles went through time and space and they're hitting people, because the Hopi prophecy talks about things like this. There's a Hopi prophecy that I don't know how long ago the prophecy was, but they describe about these things, you know, in that general area. So I think what was going down is people, like I did like a video with AI, like kind of, it's a sci-fi. It's not real, but it's like my imagination what could happen, that these people blew up that bomb at that time when they were testing in Nevada, right? And it was ripping through time and space, and the natives from back then, in the past, were like receiving messages because time and space like ripped apart and stuff, something like that. I was thinking, and yeah. So like a lot of those things, like the Watchman, that guy, he's like basically like attacking a particle that can go through time and space. But that's very interesting. Okay, detonating atomic bombs also creates an enormous imbalance on Earth. For example, when you consider that creation balanced air, air, fire, water, and ether, an atomic bomb causes a massive amount of fire in one place. That's an out of balance sequence, and the Earth must respond. If you dump 80 zillion tons of water on a city, that would also be an out of balance situation. Anywhere you have too much air, too much water, too much anything, it's out of balance. Alchemy is the knowledge of how to keep all these things in balance. If you understand these geometries and know what the relationships are, you can create what you want. The whole idea is to understand the map underneath it all. Remember, the map is the way spirit moves in the void. If you know the underlying map, then you have the knowledge and understanding to create with God, to co-create with God. Thank you. Tongo said hi. What's up? Thank you. Sorry, I'm not really like looking at the screen, but see, like these things, when I was reading this again, all these shapes, right? Like there's been like UFOs and stuff, like cube UFOs, tetrahedrons, all these things, right? So now I'm thinking like, and it's like DNA, and they chose like, what did they chose create? Oh yeah, they're using DNA to make computers, right? Components and different type of stuff now. So, and then if you look up artificial brain, they have artificial brains that also been created, and this was like a while ago too, and they showed in that movie I Spy the kids, and they have an artificial brain, and it goes deeper because these people, when they clone themselves, they're gonna have empty brains and vessels where they can just upload their past lives and thoughts, but it's not, I don't think it's really gonna be them. It's just gonna be like a avatar, kind of, make its own life. But I think the soul is like in here. It's like somewhere, and they have machines, to inhabit the body, like the ghost in the machine. I think that's like that anime. What's it called? Ghost in the Shell or something. And then like that other anime and Cartoon Network, it was called Full Metal Alchemist. So I think that's like something like that. So I'm just getting all kinds of topics, but basically like these spaceships, are like organic, you know. Thank you. So thank you for the like. So they're like organic spaceships that are being created out of these materials, and like 3i Atlas is like basically something like that. It's like organic rock created like a celestial egg. Okay, so let's move on. Thank you guys for watching, people that were here. Thank you guys. I'm going to be reading and looking up here and there, but here we go. Okay, figure 627 shows the interrelationships of all these shapes. Each point connects to the next one, and they all have certain mathematical relationships related to pi ratios. The more you study this, the more these 5 shapes become one. We've only recently begun to remember this ancient science, though they fully understand everything in Egypt, Tibet, and India a long time ago. They understood it in Greece, then they forgot for a long time. They remembered it again during the Italian Renaissance, then forgot it again. The modern world has almost completely forgotten what shape really means, and we are just now remembering. Thank you. Hi, Mahad, Hamod, Hamodi. Um, so, if you study the emerald tablets, they describe like things like that, going through curves, and the demons can go through curves, but they can go through angles, like 90-degree angles. Hmm. And we're like going around them, the curves. I don't know. It's something weird like that. But I had a dream like that, and when I started using DMT, it was like the dreams, the DMT, the reality, like the aliens, everything was like connected. And this dream I had, it started like we're like this on a slide, a stone slide, and we went down, and then like going down, it was like a stone elephant wall with water coming down it, right, out of his like nose or something. It was like the eternal waters, and we went down, and suddenly like we're like way down in this like maze, like it's like upside down. It was like right side up, upside down. Um, Basically, these like these entities, and he was like a bad one. They were like demons or whatever, but they were like chasing us, and it was like we're like it felt like it was like a water park, but like eternal water park, and the eternal waters with there's like crystals everywhere, rocks and like crystal rocks in the water. Like the water was very clear, and there was like I tried to drive, but there was like a pool of water, and then I was walking alongside of it, but there was like a wall like this, but it was like a see-through wall, like a glass wall, kind of like, but you couldn't really see through it. It was like kind of like blurry, but you could see the demon on the other side, and he was like chasing us. And we went up like I went up like down the ladder, or it was like stairs, like stone stairs. But when I went down, I was up, you know, and like we were like, and we would go this way, and they were like somewhere else. Like it was so strange. But speaking of that, like when I went to a rave at Wonderland, and like the frequencies and stuff. So I was at this rave, and like I was on psychedelics or whatever, and it was the recent one in California, the Wonderland one, with like Alice in Wonderland. So basically, I was like on some acid and mushrooms and fucking excuse my language, and I was going, and all this energy was being emitted, and then these guys that were at the rave that worked there had like waffle plates with sticks on them, but they were like pointing them at people, and they were like frequencies. And then I knew what they were doing, and I started like we're communicating through the mind, like I was like, oh, I know what you guys are doing, I know what's going on here. And then they started like basically hitting me with all this stuff about me, and basically I like it was very strange, and I went to the side where it was like gothic side, and like all the frequencies and the visuals were like very demonic, and so I went, and it was crazy. I was like being hit with these high frequencies, right? And these people at the park were, I was telling them like, hit me harder, I know what's going on. And basically like the frequencies like made you super strong. They made you like super strong, and they were like, they're getting me mad basically, like they're like saying a bunch of stuff. And I was like, so I snapped, right? And it started like the people that were following me, I was like, boom, 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 boom. Whatever. I jumped the fence. These people, police, everything. But yeah, they're using like mind control frequencies, and a lot of the people there were getting mind controlled at the rave and shit. And they were trying to control me too and stuff, but I knew like what was going on, and they were like making them stronger, right? Me stronger, and then like it's just so wild. It is like it sounds like unbelievable, but I'm trying to like tie that into like this movie that just came out with Brave New World with Harrison Ford, The Red Hope. Basically, that movie is about mind control and frequencies, and a lot of people like didn't really like catch all that stuff because it's like a lot of people say it was boring. But if you really pay attention to the movie, it's like, oh, it's talking about mind control and like frequencies and how they're using the soldiers' DNA, their blood DNA, to like mind control them because the blood has a frequency and they can control you with your blood, right? So the whole purpose of like everything is mind control of like everything you do, like basically make you a robot. And that movie that just came out, World of the Worlds with Ice Cube, is basically describing that stuff, like mind control, controlling everything you do, and basically like you think you have like free will, but it's all like mind control. So, okay, here we go. But yeah, like that rave, they're using like mind control. There was like reptilians there was demons there were like all kinds of crazy stuff going on there, and they basically like made me go berserk, and I was just like going berserk there, and then they basically tranquilized me and put me into a deep sleep with that stuff, and plus I was like on acid and everything, so like I went into like a quantum like energy realm. It was like this, and we were like I was like black and white, like, and we were energy, and we were like, it was like an infinity ring, like a racetrack, and we were like going in circles, and we were like touching, like basically my energy was giving him energy, and then that person, and we went in circles and circles, and we went so freaking fast that we like just like blasted it off with like tons of energy. And I was like in a sleep state because they tranquilized me, the you know, the people at the rave that worked there, the people on the cover. So I went into this crazy like realm, and I was going back and forth, and it was all energy, and I felt so strong, but I was there for like it looked like this, something like that, and it was like we're going in circles, like, and I was like giving them energy, and then I was to a point where I was like, I don't want to be here no more. I want to go back. And then I started waking up at the hospital, and they were like, like it was so weird, but yeah, like all that stuff. The frequencies are very like real at these festivals, like especially like the well-known ones are using like mad frequencies to control people and to put you like in a zombie, and because the frequencies also regenerate your DNA and they make you stronger. They can repair your DNA, the frequencies and stuff. So like I think a lot of the people that were there, they were demons, like reptilians, right? And like who knows what else, but these people like the snakes, right? Like the reptilians, they can be revealed with sound, and in the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, they say that he says that he describes all that stuff, that you could see the demons with frequencies like sound, and I think they know that, you know, and we just gotta, somebody out there that's really smart, create a frequency that disrupts like their cloaking in humans, and that'll be like a cool little sci-fi like story, kind of like They Live, but like with frequencies, and you just like you point like a frequency, boom, and then like the reptilian side comes out like, oh shoot, like you know, something like that. That'll be like crazy, and then you go like, I think I should like kind of write that out, like something like that, like since there's so much chaos right now, and the aliens, and then the illegals and all these stuff, like they consider them people aliens, right? But like in the sci-fi movies, it would be like they're like and make them into I don't know, I'm getting off track, but it was basically something like that. And let me get back to this book, but it was just so hard to describe what I seen in that situation. But it's all up here. So scanning your mind, they were basically scanning your mind, repairing your DNA, making you extra strong. You know, so these frequencies can do a lot of stuff. And I need you guys to check out that movie again, The Brave New World, with the Marvel, Captain America. So basically, yeah, that movie is about mind control of DNA, frequencies, and how they're enhancing the soldiers and all that stuff, what's going down right now. So let me get back to this before we never finish. Okay. So are you guys are you guys being entertained? Okay. Crystals. Grounding our learning. Now we're going to take this abstract information that doesn't really seem to apply to us in our everyday lives, and we're going to tie it to our everyday experience. Some of this is not an everyday experience, but we can more or less understand the connection with the subjects. First, I'm going to ground this information to crystals. There are lots of other areas of nature I could use, but it's so obvious in crystals that anybody can see it. I could use viruses or diatomaceous earth. I could show it in a lot of things, but crystals are good because people like them. To begin looking at these crystals, let's first examine this X-ray diffraction pattern, figure 628. When you shoot X-rays down the C-axis of the atomic matrix of a crystal or metal, you'll get these little dots showing you exactly where the atoms are located. In this case, this is a Braille crystal that actually displays the flower of life pattern. The Braille crystal uses the pattern to arrange its atoms and form this specific crystal. It's really amazing that this little atom simply line themselves up in space, often with enormous distance between them. And that's like quantum entanglement, right? These microscopic spaces are relatively vast, like between the stars in the night sky. The atoms perfectly align themselves in cubes and tetrahedrons and all kinds of geometric shapes. See that? It's like the crown chakra, huh? Like that'll probably be like up here. Why? This is an X-ray diffraction pattern of a crystal, figure 6. 629. You can see how the atoms have arranged themselves in a cubical design. It's interesting that all the various forms manifested in reality. The atoms themselves are spheres. Could these UFOs just be like this? Could they just be like living crystals and stuff that just like in space and everything been around for millions of years? Like they're just like their own entity and they're just like flying around like a crystal. Or it's like I think like how they created living spaceships, like crystal spaceships, like the crystal spaceships. You know, you create a crystal spaceship with water. Because I also thought like the Aquarians from the Aquarius constellation, all them, since all this stuff, since they're blanketing the ocean and all that chemical fog and the Atlanteans and all that stuff went down. And then that big earthquake that just happened with Russia, I think like these fools are fighting down there, the submarines, since they're all the nuclear submarines are around all those areas. I think like they've been fighting and they're just telling us like it's earthquake, because that's my intuition tells me it was like it wasn't an earthquake, it was like atomic war in the ocean, and that's kind of disrupted the atomic plates, I think, the tectonic plates. But that's my intuition. I would think, like, I don't know, it just seems like all these things happening, Earth. But also thought like since it was atomic bomb that passed like 100 years, almost 100 years ago, 80 years ago or something, that is still disrupting time and space. Like it's messing with the fabric of the faults, like time and space. So it's like collapsing. Like there's like black holes there that are just collapsing, like the Earth or something. Like it's falling apart. What do y'all think? Yay, nay? I don't know, but that's what my intuition was telling me. And these living spaceships that they see like cube spaceships. Maybe yeah, the government created like the cube spaceships out of DNA, like crystal DNA or something, and then like crystals or like there's always air. They could use it like somehow it makes it levitate because like the 0 point energy. There's air like floats. I don't know, air pockets, air bubbles. Come on, give me the answers. Give me the fucking answers. So here we go. Where was I? The beginning part is understand. Okay, the entire fabric. Hold up. This simple fact has been overlooked by most researchers, but the sphere is the main form that everything came from in the beginning. It is important to understand in creation. The entire fabric of everything is everything in our existence is made up of marbles. You're losing your goddamn marbles, I tell you. All different sizes or spheres. We're sitting on a sphere. The Earth and spheres are rotating around us. The moon, sun, stars are all spheres. The whole universe, from microcosm to the macrocosm to the microcosm, is made up of little spheres in one way or the other. The light waves moving through space are all spheres. We think of light waves as making waves through space, but it's much more complex. An electrical field spins one way around it, and a magnetic field rotates at 90 degrees to the electrical field, and they expand in spherical patterns. Thank you for people coming to the lab. Imagine a cube in deep space. Yes, I can imagine. And see a bright light flashing. I see it from it going out in all directions, 36 degrees. What do you have? Do you have a cubical light? Have cubical light wave energy field moving away from it? At first thought, you might say it would be an expanding cube getting bigger and bigger and bigger, but that's not what's happening. That sounds like the three-eye atlas, huh? What do y'all think? It sounds like it's like changing colors now. It's like green stuff. So I think it's like this feels like it's describing three-eye atlas coming from deep space, and then the cube, the cube, the cube, the cube, the cube. Huh. But that's not what happens. Light waves move radially away from their source at 186,200 miles a second. So when a light wave moves from the surface of a cube I hold in my hand, in 1 second the light from the face of the cube is already 100. It's 86,000 miles with 200 or something like that. And the wave that moved off a corner of the cube, which is a little farther away from the center than the face is. In 1 second, 186,200 miles away from the center plus maybe a fraction of an inch. If you could see a fraction of an inch at 186,200 miles, you'll have supervision. You'll be like Superman, right? And that's only in 1 second. 2 seconds later, the form has expanded twice that far, and a minute later, it's enormous. Sounds like a Muamua. I mean, three-eye atlas, how it's like going, zipping by, like you barely, like these people in the web, they're like, they caught it, it's like frame, and that's the other one. It's going really fast. But see, like that drawing, if you guys follow my channel, that drawing that I just put, I was working on that drawing. Well, I just drew the sketch, like whatever I was seeing, but I drew it like I was doing the sketch like a couple months ago because I was like seeing something because I've been studying the Emerald Tablets, but and then the Egyptian Book of the Dead, and a lot of these people are always referring to the cosmic egg of creation. So I think like Three Eye Atlas is something like that. Like it's like Prometheus is dropping life, and as it passes through all these planets, like their type of life. So they're seeding in the oceans and stuff, and they talk about that, like the Egyptian Book of the Dead talks about how they're seeding life like in the ocean, and they've been doing it, for thousands of years, millions, and then that's how like DMT. When I did DMT and I came up with that story on my YouTube channel, this channel you're watching, whoever's watching, but it was they're like trilobites. I got them confused. I commented different things. Anamites, I thought they were, but they're more looking like trilobites, right? And in this dream that I had, it was like I was like riding a bike, but it wasn't really me. I was just like seeing this parallel reality, right? So this person is like an Asian person riding this bike. It's like a white bike, but it's like futuristic. Everything like looks futuristic, but they're going through this Air Force base. It's called March Air Force Base. It's in Southern California, but basically, they're like I'm seeing like this dream, right? And they're like on the base, but like the radio tower is like right there. So I'm like seeing the guy kind of ride through the radio tower, passing by. Like there's like a path, but the base, like the Air Force base, doesn't look like that in reality. Like it's like completely different. Like I have dreams of like the same city, but everything is like twisted and different. Hills here, uphill there. It's like so it's something like that in this parallel reality that I see sometimes. But so I was like seeing it, and then suddenly like by the radio tower on the ground, the concrete opens up like there's, and then a freaking a shipping container comes out. It's like a shipping container goes up, and it goes into the sky, right? So I'm watching this like in my dream, and then the shipping container opens up, and then a bunch of like black spheres like this come out. Like, these are like this fucking big. It looks like in the dream, and then they disperse everywhere. They go like all over the world, right? That's what it looked like in my dream. Like I could feel it and see it, like what's happening. So they go, the black spheres go everywhere. And this dream was, excuse me, I had the dream in 2017. So the dream was like in 2017. I had that dream, and I woke up like at 3 in the morning. I was like, what? I was like, what the hell was that about? But basically, it was like, so the black spheres go out everywhere, boom, and then the next scene, because the black spheres like let out like a EMP, like some kind of like magnetic like discharge, like pulse. So like the next scene, I'm like at the 215 and the 60 freeway, right here, and like I'm in a car, like I'm seeing these people, like the car turns off, and it goes to the side, and then like planes are falling, cars are turning off, like everything, and then we're like on the side, like a bunch of people on the side of the freeway, like running, because there's like cars are crashing and everything, everything's turning off. But what's crazy about like these cars were like they're like living cars. They're like they're like kind of like, I call them armadillos, like, because in my mind, my instinct was like they're like some kind of bioengineered cars that were like armadillo type, and I think like cars are gonna turn into something like that, like bioengineered vehicles and whatnot. And so then like at the top of the freeway, like at the 215 and the 60 freeway, there's an infinity crystal, right? It's like, and it's like a crystal is like white, like a crystal, right? And it's like everybody starts looking at it, and it's so massive. It's like as big as one side of the freeway to the other, like, and the crystal starts rotating opposite way. So it starts spinning slow, and then it starts spinning really fast. And then in the center of the crystal, it's like starts getting bright because it's about to break, right? And it's spinning, and it breaks, and then each crystal goes, on different sides of the world. But in my dream, I see it like it's like it splits, like something like splits in my mind. I don't know. It was weird, but like I can see where both the crystals fall in the ocean, the left and the right. And I think that's why it's like the left hemisphere and the right hemisphere, and like all the things that have happened to me with the aliens and whatnot, but and all these like things that I experienced. But basically, the crystals fell. Like one fell this way, and then I remember the other one like fell up. Like I don't know, it was weird. But I could see that when they fell, the crystals dissolved, like the rings, and the rings dissolved, and a bunch of like little trilobites came out of them. Like, like it was millions of trilobites, but that was crazy that there was like skulls on top of them. There were skulls on top of them, and they had black swastikas, right? They had black swastikas on their head, and then they're moving like all fast in the ocean, and then they like basically like transform into like half man, half mermaid, how these legends, and they come out the water, and then I just like I wake up, and it's like what the heck was that dream about? But basically, I had that dream 2017. I wrote it down, and then when I did DMT around 2019, like that dream and everything was like relevant. Like it was like showing me like it just woke something up. Like I was like, oh dang, like it's reminding me of this dream and these things and like a whole bunch of stuff. And my first experience with DMT was meeting a black android with antennas, and we're like in this crazy like space, and he was like me, but I have little drawings of him. I'll probably put them out here. But it was basically like an Android phone. It was like an Android, and then I started realizing like okay, like these aliens and whatnot, they could be like androids, and then since our government, well, the planet Earth, been sending like androids and stuff across like space and time. What about like if these entities or like these aliens have found these androids, right? And there's stories too, like the Cassini or the Voyager that disappeared, all these like different things. And I think that's what could be going on. Like this tech that went across the universe, space and time, it's already been intercepted, and they're like it advanced the drone. Like when you find something, like you like make it better or something like that. So I think like they probably like made it like better, the drones, right? And they made them more complex and whatnot, and then they send them back or something like that. And then that movie with Independence Day, that new one that just came out, it was a sphere that opened a portal, and it was going to go help the humans, and then they blew them up right away because that's like the reaction, right? So they're like, it was a sphere, everything's like a sphere. And then that other movie that came out where they're like the hollow moon, and then that's where it clicked in my head again too, where when that guy, he blew himself up and he sacrificed himself with the atomic bomb, and how the AI scanned him and his conscience and everything. And then that's when I was like, boom, yes, it all makes sense. Facebook, all these different platforms where you put your pictures, where you put your freaking all your information, you put your text, your da. Yeah, it's mind control. It's that, and it's also like a profile for like say like if it comes to worse, like they want to fucking clone you or whatever. They want to clone different people on this planet. Say like this time it's like would disappear, right? Everything would disappear, and then there'll just be the codex, the crystal codex, where they have all the genome and the building blocks of DNA, and then that's when they'll create life, and then that's like Genesis and stuff. And I realized like when they created the codex in 2024, well, I think it'd been around longer, but the crystal information, the 5D memory crystal, and I made that like AI generated like short story, but I had different variations like of what happened, but basically that crystal, they send it out, right? Say hypothetically in this like sci-fi that I created, like they send the crystals out, boom, in outer space, and then these aliens find these crystals, and then they genetically make humans to their, whatever they want, or they want to make the actual human, or they like upgrade the humans. And then I realized like, what about if like history is just repeating itself? Like this has happened before, and that's what Genesis is in the Bible. Like they found the codex, or like they found Earth, right? Somehow became, they seen humans were primitive, and they start genetically altering them, and stuff like that. Where I was thinking like, okay, like you find a, like the aliens find this, and then they make their own life of us, and then they make a garden, right? They have all the genetics of animals, plants, trees, and everything. So they make an artificial planet for the humans, right? And it would be like this. It would be like this Earth, where now they're like, oh, it's hollow in here. It's hollow, right? Like if it's hollow, then that means it could be a Dyson sphere. Like we're living on a Dyson sphere, and I started coming to a conclusion that this Earth is a Dyson sphere. You know, it's like an advanced, like if it's that, if it's not that, then it's a computer, right? We're in a simulation. There's that one. So you think like these scientists that created artificial suns, they created, sure they probably already, the one I keep seeing, they created the sun. And then now they got to create a mini Earth, right? You create a mini Earth, and then microorganisms, and then you create like a whole artificial solar system, right? And then how would we even know, like, we're in one, right? Or like people when they create these things, and you're like, oh my God, look, it's a star, or like something flying by or something, but it's really a scientist, and we're really in a lab or something, and he's like fucking doing some, research. So I think like, is it even possible? Like, well, a computer, right? Like the DNA, they're building computers with DNA, all this stuff. Like Black Mirror has a bunch of good episodes where they like, I just seen the new ones, and it was like, it made sense. Like you, like a computer, like simulations, the Sims. And like how they always shown in the cartoons, or like that video game, like the Sims, what about if like the Sims get more advanced, and like they actually like real, right? Like they become like cells and stuff, and they're like real things, and it's like a real game. And I think that's how far technology, VR, is going to advance with augmented reality, like bio pets, bio companionship. Started making sense to me that all these things are going to happen, and that's it. And that's the whole point. And like, I don't even know, but there's a point to all this madness, right? There's always like they want something, right? They want something in the madness, Okay. So the cube, yeah, like the cube, man. Stories about the cube. You see that UFO going, UFO cube, and then when okay, like I'm just going off like tangent topics, this and that. Who cares? Whoever wants to hear. But like when I realized and visualized like what was happening, like with the Hopi prophecy, right? The atomic bombs, like these things I created on my channel, like in the last couple of months, and it was like the shift in reality, how we entered into like parallel realities and stuff, and accelerated realities, how the accelerated time. Like a lot of people have been talking about it, but I've been seeing this shit for like 20 years, since like the tsunami happened in that one Indonesia. That's when I first started hearing about that, how like time sped up like 7 seconds or 3 seconds and whatnot. So we're like accelerating faster in time and space, and people and their atomic energy. And I think that's how like the uncontrollables, or these people that are like moving through space and time, they're like they're just light energies, and like eventually like the physical being here, like humans, Earth people, are eventually gonna be like crystal form energies, like their form, and they're gonna be like radiant energy. We emit gold, like we're producing gold, our skins, right? So these things are gonna amplify, and humans are gonna be genetically modified. And like this movie that just passed, Craven with Marvel. So there's a lot of like symbology, and like one day I want to break all those movies down, like because I've seen so much stuff like in those movies, and they use a lot of references of what like real like stuff going down. So like Venom, the last one that just happened is about quantum entanglement. You know, opening black holes and portals, and they're all connected, like the symbiosis, the symbiotes, and the symbiotes are like the skinwalkers. You know, they're like the anaerobic bacteria, what they just discussed about like what a couple of months ago, and what they're like talking about kind of now and stuff about the well, they showed all this UFO stuff recently, yesterday, what 3 days ago, and it was all about that stuff, and which is like wondering how do we get from the belt, the asteroid belt, right? The Van Halen belt, where the radiation, and I was like, it's anaerobic bacteria, because anaerobic bacteria like can repair itself, and it's like it fights radiation, right? Like brainer. So these like now they're saying like three eye atlas is like artificial, like kind of like artificial rock and stuff. And I seen it in a recent movie. I was like, I need to put that down. But see, like it all came to me like last year. And when I did that short with Muamua with the reptilian, I did that. I told AI to do all that artwork for me like last year. I think it was because I seen I was like, oh shit, like a Muamua is like an artificial rock. I started realizing like it's an artificial spaceship rock, and I mean I'm sure I'm not the only one, but like I started realizing like how the reptilians are on the earth and stuff, how they're like in Mojave Desert, like disguised in those rocks and stuff, like those rocks and those spaceships, like say like hypothetical, whatever, like imagination. Like when the aliens came, like they landed on Earth, and it was like millions of years ago, like the reptilians, and they did basically like since they came descended with their mountain rocks spaceships, they fucking blew up all the stuff, like stuff they didn't want, and they inhabit the Earth, and then the rocks are housing their eggs, their seedlings, you know, like they're in hibernation, like not hibernation but incubation. So they're just like they're breeding like because they're like they breed like eggs, right? They lay hundreds, millions, who knows how many eggs they reptilians lay, but that's why they like the heat. That's why they're in Mojave Desert, in that area over there, and they're living in the rocks, and they love the heat over there. So I think like when it's all heat, very hot over there, they're like, oh yeah, we're getting power for our facility, you know, because the thermal rock energy that creates like thermal energy with the rocks. So it's stuff like that, like it's so wild, like it's crazy. So I think like more my like uh, remote view intuition, like what I see is like they're the reptilians, but I could be wrong. And this lady like saying the one right now, Three Eye Atlas. See the one I was drawing, working on that art, but I was just like thinking it was a cosmic egg of creation, like what they keep describing, and that's what it kind of like a shape, but it's so bright, like how they're describing right now. Like you see, it's so bright, and it's like, but the mass is like smaller than that, but it's emitting a bright energy, and I think they're like seeding life in the universe right now. They're just like passing by, dropping their nano eggs in the ocean, the crystal stuff. So yeah, and then going back to like Marvel, Fantastic Four. That movie is about basically the quantum computers being activated and how parallel realities were being connected. And since like they opened that one in 2017, when that guy is like, oh, it's like standing next to an alien altar, right? And from what I read that article, they were like that time they were saying that basically since he turned on the quantum computer at that time, and that's what they're saying they turned it on, but I think that quantum computers and like been around probably like since the 50s or something, like with that concept of that or whatever, or if when they probably made one, and that's how they have all these things. But now they're like putting them out here like, oh, it's a quantum, like some new computer. But yeah, they basically said like once he turned it on, like they were communicating with other parallel realities, and I'm like, I don't know, it's kind of like tricky, but that basically that's what like the concept of Fantastic Four is like all about, quantum computers, and like parallel realities and portals, basically opening up portals. And there's a lot of things in the beginning of the year. Also, I was experiencing like portals. I was like, maybe because I was watching that Loki, Marvel, and he was like jumping through portals and stuff. So, but it was weird. Like my experience, I was like laying in bed and I was like having this dream. I was like, it kind of felt like when the UFO, when the aliens took me when I was a kid, but they were all dressed in lab coats. Well, there was two. It was a guy and a girl, and they were dressed in lab coats. And I was like in the fucking in the thing, and I was trying to wake up. I was like, like fighting, like whatever, you know. And then so they did whatever they did, and then like the portal opened up, and they threw me. Or like I rolled out of bed or whatever. I rolled out of bed. Like it probably a dream, you know, it's probably not even a real thing, but it was like the beginning of January and I rolled out of bed. I was like boom, 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 and I was like, what the hell? Like, but like in the dream, like they threw me out of the portal. Like they just threw me out of the little thing. But yeah, like it was very bright that place I was at, and it reminded me of like when they took me when I was like 6 years old, the UFOs and the aliens and how they took me in, and it was like something like that. It was all bright, and I'm thinking maybe they cloak themselves as humans and lab tech people because like that, they don't want me to freak out or something. I probably would have freaked out more in the dream, or if it was like I was like at two places at one time, like quantum entanglement or something like that, like the dream, and so it was that, and it's just coincidence. And after that, like it was just like, oh, portals, portals, more portals opening up, and this and that, and I was like, like I don't know, it's just like strange to me, and it could be also that I was last semester, well, this semester too, I kind of got really busy, and I kind of like, you know, I didn't really put that much. I was putting a lot, but I was very just felt overwhelmed with a lot of stuff, like all this things. So I kind of like dropped my biotech class, kind of like, you know, I was like, I'll come back to it later. I'm gonna come back to it later and stronger once I'm like situated with these things. But I have like so much things, and you just see people see my channel as like random things. Now I'm trying to focus with the AI stories and like this, and like seeing the future, and like trying to tell you guys ahead by my stories, I guess, or whatever. But we're already past like what happened with the man of gold, him. Like I'm already way over this, and what's happening now, I'm like this is like doesn't even matter no more. Nothing does, and that's how they're gonna keep you like hinged and keep you engaged because you're like paying too much attention, and you got to start hitting the dislike button. Hit the dislike button. Don't look at it. Don't give them the views. You know why? Because it's all about the views. They make the money with the views, and then they're hitting you with the messages, and some people can't even distinguish. You know, like they're lying to them or whatever. So it's better not to even pay attention. Like right now, like I only pay attention to certain things. Like the politics is what's very gonna like divide this whole planet even more. And you guys gotta watch the Watchmen because that's exactly what's going on. We're going into World War III, right? Like they might say aliens don't exist. They might say it's just like all like hocus pocus, but everything exists. Like everything is happening now. Like the aliens, time, future, past, present, they're all like intertwined, and they're trying to find something, or they're trying to like prevent maybe like supernova, because I think like the end of the world is like a supernova, right? Like just blow up the whole freaking world from the inside out, right? Blow up their braille, then go supernova, and because you blow up the outside, right? We're all gonna die. The people on the inside are gonna come back out, repopulate with their androids and all their AI, and you know their artificial trees to purify the earth. Well, they should be doing that now and making artificial reefs and artificial, like trees, more planting artificial trees everywhere in polluted areas. And why don't they do that? Because you don't care. And why didn't they stop Hiroshima and Nagasaki, like the aliens or whatever? Because they don't care. They can't really like. I guess like if they care that much, why do let all them innocent people die? All right, like quarter million, like not even a million, 500,000 people. Why didn't you stop that? And are they gonna stop it now? Hell no, they ain't gonna stop it. They probably like hell yeah, because the reptilians and all these lusters, like they like, especially the evil forces, the evil prevails and they like that energy. So they gotta feed the energy, right? And then the souls, and like where the heck did the souls and the light energy go? Like I always think about that, and that's been on my mind for like the last 10 years. Like where did all these souls go? Like where did they go into like a quantum like realm? Like are they still alive there in a quantum reality, or I don't know. It's just strange, and I think they're gonna do it again, and they're gonna like take more people out. They're gonna take millions of people because that's you. That's the way you unify the world. You make it a one world government. I think like how they show in Watchmen, and it kind of makes sense. Like you gotta like blow up everything, blow up each other. All the metropolitan cities gone. You blow up all that, then somehow like all these robots you've been building, you're gonna come pick up everything. I mean, that's what I see, and that's what I created in that like little universe. But it feels like that's what reality is gonna come to, like in my reality, what I see. And I think like that was the best way I could describe it. Like Trump betrayed everything. But it was so crazy because you think about it, like all this like information was suppressed, right? Like they only let select information. And I used to watch Howard Stern, and I want to say I've seen him on there years ago, but I used to watch that show in the '90s growing up and stuff, and early 2000s. I just like stopped watching it, but like all that stuff, like everything, all that information about him been out there, right? But like there was only like the first term they whatever came out with some certain stuff, but it's like now it's like the finale, the last term. They bring out everything. Epstein, this he's connected like old things and this and like come on, man. It's like all spectacle. It's like a big entertainment. It's all entertainment. It's like there's no real liberty and no justice. Only for the people that establish these orders and these groups. They're lawless, and I'm like reptilians with them too. Like I don't know. They sold us out though, but I think that's what they're gonna do. They're gonna just blow it up, bust the AI, unite the world, create the one world currency, right? And it's gonna be all biotechnology. They're gonna use like biochips, like bio authentication, and I gotta work on that story too. I wrote a little bit of it, but I need to put more like things that I'm seeing because it's connected to Tomorrowland, like what's going on with that story, everything, like our whole reality. So, yeah, I just been going on a tangent. Um, but yeah, I think hi, bye. Thank you guys for tuning in. But here we're gonna go. I'm gonna try to finish this last thing. Okay. Okay, here we go, guys and girls and aliens. Hi. Imagine a cube in deep space and see a bright light flashing from it, going out in all directions. Oh, I think I'll read it again. 360 degrees. What do you have? Do you have a cubical light wave energy field moving away from it? At first, thought you might say it would be an expanding cube, getting bigger and bigger and bigger, but that's not what happens. Light waves. Oh, yeah, I didn't read all this. Do you guys want to read it again? Okay. Light waves move radially away from their source at 186,200 miles a second. So when a light wave moves from the surface of a cube I hold in my hand, in 1 second the light from the face of the cube is already 186,200 miles away. And the wave that moved off a corner of the cube, which is a little farther away from the center than the face, is in 1 second 186,200 miles away from the center's plus maybe a fraction of an inch. If you could see a fraction of an inch at 186,200 miles, you would have supervision, and that's only in 1 second. 2 seconds later, the form has expanded twice that far, and a minute later, it's enormous. It's like, you're like, what the fuck? Okay, so you have a sphere moving away from something that originated as a cube. If the object happens to be really big, then the light wave first tends to take the shape of the object, but it slowly turns into a sphere as it moves away, and the object becomes smaller and smaller relative to the light field. So what you have out there is a bunch of light spheres moving away in all directions and interconnecting with each other. When you see light coming directly towards you, it's white. But if it's not moving directly towards you, it's black. In fact, the entire night sky is filled with brilliant white lights, but we see the light only when it's coming towards us. We don't see the light waves that moves sideways from us. We just see black. If we could see it all, it would be blinding. Light is everywhere, and there is no place in space where it is not. As far as I know, the sphere is literally everywhere. Huh. Light. In the beginning, there was light. Boom! Okay, electron clouds and molecules. I'm going to take a little break right now. But thank you guys for watching. I'll probably do a record and just finish the rest of it. Unless you guys like this method. But I'm just like freestyling, talking a bunch of nonsense. And I just appreciate all the new subscribers, the 2K. I was just trying to make a little 2K. Yeah, so I really appreciate y'all. Shout out to that song. It was a good little song. So thank y'all very much. And yay, nay. If y'all like it, let me know. If not, then... Oh yeah, and about the Lyrans. They're saying that the 3-eye Atlas with this other people, they're like, it's the Lyrans. And I'm like, oh, I came up with that story. Are they really coming? Are they here? Are the Lyrans here? Are they coming? I mean, I know they're here, but I think they're like way underground and stuff. All right, so I'm gonna get going. Thank y'all for tuning in. I appreciate y'all. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe, and watch out for that tree. How do you end this? I never ended one. How you do this? How you do this? How do you do it? How do you do? All right, I don't really know how to end the live. How do you do this? Somebody help. Somebody. I wonder if y'all heard me. How do you stop? How do you stop? All right, thank y'all.